Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you guys all for being here. I see more and more people are still joining in. So we'll give it another minute or so before we really get started. But yeah, welcome. Welcome to the Quest Self-Directed Tuesday webinar. Happy to have you guys. I think we're going to have a really great presentation today. I know Juan, he's got a lot of great information. He's a great expert in this area, so I'm excited, personally myself, just to listen to him. But before we do get started, throughout the webinar, whether it's questions for me, questions for Juan, whatever that may be, you can put your questions down in the comment section. We'll go ahead and put them up. Juan said, we can go through them as we go through the presentation. So please post your comments down there, comments, questions, anything like that you guys have. Put it in the comment section, and we'll go ahead and go through those throughout the webinar or throughout the presentation, and then we'll certainly have some Q&A time at the end too. I still have a few more people joining in, it looks like, but we'll go ahead and get started. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Colin Taylor. I'm one of the IRA specialists here at Quest, and today's presentation is going to be with Juan Cristales. He's going over how to find deals in an uncertain market, right? We know how volatile, just how strange the market is right now, and different than it's been if you go look back, 5 years, 10 years. So we'll kind of get into that. First, we always have to give our disclaimer, right? So for those of you that attend these regularly, y'all are used to this. For our new people that are not familiar with Quest or what we do, this is kind of geared towards y'all. So we and Quest, and by extension myself, we do not provide any sort of tax, legal, or investment advice. This is strictly for your education. So if you're on here, good on you, right? You're trying to learn, you're trying to understand more about real estate investing, alternative investing, but for the purpose of your education, that's all that we do here on these webinars, right? So a little bit about who is Quest. We are actually one of the largest self-directed IRA custodians in Texas, and we have over 20,000 investor clients, not just in the state, but in the country, guys. And that includes investors that are investing not only domestically, but even some internationally too. We have about $2 billion in assets under management, over 100 employees, 34 of which have that certified IRA services professional designation, or that CISP tag. It's a pretty tough designation to get. It's I would say about a 3-hour test and a lot of hours of studying that go into that. So we do have quite a few of those. I'm actually working towards mine right now, hoping to take that next year. But and then moving on, $400 million in undirected cash, meaning our clients, they have money, they're looking for deals, looking for investments to make in ways to put their money to use, right? Grow their money for their retirement. So education is key. These are, just examples of kind of how we reach you guys, reach the public. YouTube and Facebook are going to be the biggest too. We post all of our videos on YouTube, so the recording from this video will be up there. We will, we have all of our past webinars, everything like that, put on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook, guys. Please like us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. You can continue to see these types of videos on there. So like I mentioned, we do these, we do every Tuesday and every Saturday, actually. So all of these videos are up on our YouTube and Facebook. But look on our website, guys, because like I said, we have them up and coming. We did miss this past Saturday with Thanksgiving, I believe last Tuesday as well. But please look on our website under the events tab that our lovely moderator, Andrea, just put on there. Andrea is one of the other members of my team. She's one of the other IRA specialists. She's going to be moderating. So she just put some links in there you guys can check out, but it'll show you our events, what we have coming up. And then in addition to that, our virtual networking happy hour. These happen on the 4th Wednesday of every month. And I believe for November, December, we moved that to the 3rd Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see it on our website, like I said. The reason for that being it just, falls right on. I think this one fell right on, or maybe the day before Thanksgiving, and Christmas is right, around that time too. So we bump those up a week. But typically 4th Wednesday of every month. And we have a lot of people come on these, guys. It's, it's offered all over the country, virtual. for people to come, network, pitch their deals, learn about other deals and things like that, meet other people from around the country. So those are really good. And I already mentioned, check out our YouTube and our Facebook. The next big event that we have coming up, for those of you that are familiar with Quest, I'm sure a lot of you were at the Quest Expo. This is not going to be quite the same capacity, but it's our next big event coming up December 9th and 10th. So here in less than 2 weeks, we're going to be looking at not only how did 2022 go, but what we're expecting in 2023. So December 9th, that Friday, we'll be looking at a market recap of 2022. We've got a lot of experts and panels coming on to discuss kind of how things went, what we saw, and segueing into 2023, what we're expecting, we have a lot of experts there to give their advice, their opinions on what we see the private investment market doing. So I certainly recommend you guys buy tickets for that. Tickets are $70 on our website, and it'll be hosted virtually December 9th and 10th. So hope to see you guys there. Last thing is, if you have any questions for me, one of the other IRA specialists, anything Quest related or self-directed IRA related, please reach out to us, guys. I have my email in there. You can also reach out to IRA specialists at questtrust.com. You can give us a call. We also have a live chat feature that we monitor 8:30 a.m., 5:30 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. There's an IRA specialist on there all the time monitoring that. So if you guys have any questions, you just, something quick that you want to get answered really quick. Hey, is this prohibited? Blah, 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 whatever that is, please utilize that. And then you can also scan that QR code to schedule a consultation, whether it's me, one of the other eye specialists. Somebody will be able to reach out to you, help you with whatever it is you have questions on, or assist you with whatever you need. So without further ado, that's about all that I have. So we'll go ahead and bring Juan on. Like I said, we're excited to have him today. And here we go. So Juan, I'll kind of let you take it away. Guys, again, if you have questions, please put them in the chat throughout the presentation.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for having me, Quest. I really appreciate it. My name is Juan Cristales, and I'm a full-time real estate investor. I started in about 2016 timeframe, so I've been doing this for about 6 years or so. During that time period, I've done about 200 deals, probably a little bit more than 200 deals. So I stay very, very active in the real estate investing arena. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about when I was kind of approached about talking on this forum here was like everybody's a little bit freaked out about what's going on in the marketplace. And I think a lot of people are really hesitant to take action or hesitant to buy some deals. So that's really what I want to focus on right now. I want to preface this with this first line here that I have, which is success takes time. I think that for the most part, people really think that you can get to that level of like, you look at, someone like myself, for example, and you're like, I'm watching this guy. I want to learn from him. Obviously, he's done some things correctly. I can tell you a bunch of things that I've done incorrectly, but it does take a little bit of time. It isn't something that it's like going to be just immediate and automatic. It's not going to happen in several months. It definitely takes quite a bit of work, but it's definitely doable. So here's one of the quotes I just was reading earlier this week. This very first one here says, far more money has been lost by investors trying to anticipate corrections than lost in the corrections themselves. It's so powerful because I feel that this is so accurate as to what's going on in the marketplace right now. Investors are passing up on deals, which is kind of good for someone like me, because it's like I don't really have that much competition right now. I just put a property under contract just maybe about 30, 45 minutes ago that it was a deal that I found on Zillow, believe it or not. Just got a notification about a property and kept contacting the guys, followed up with him, and then finally we got to an answer. But, he's like, I got other investors. They're at this price. They're at that price. But I'll tell you the story later. So I think the majority of people know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, man. But this guy, I mean, his family wine business, he took it from $3 million to $60 million in 5 years after college. But he worked early in the morning all the way till late at night, 7 days a week. Now he has no VaynerMedia. This is not luck. George R.R. Martin, the Game of Thrones creator, he was an author for decades before he was widely recognized. You have to put in the work. David Goggins, I highly recommend his stuff, man. He's got a book that's called Can't Hurt Me. His life and the very tough upbringing that he had as a young kid, man. And he definitely struggled with being less than mediocre for himself. He finally had enough and said, man, I'm going to go on this journey, became a Navy SEAL Ranger, ultra marathoner. It's an incredible book. I really recommend that you guys read that. It's very good information, because I think that a lot of times entrepreneurs who are starting out don't really understand that they think that like the successful ones are totally different than they are. But if you read a guy like David Goggins, you'll see that he is an entrepreneur, but he's also a very hardworking dude. But he wasn't always like that. He wasn't always a very disciplined, wasn't always a very hardworking type of person. And then you, of course, man, if you can just focus your time, focus your energy on learning, mastering real estate and real estate investing, you will be successful. But you have to focus your time. Here's going to be some of my top reasons why wholesalers can't close on deals. I'm going to go through these real quickly, okay? Number one, they don't understand the equity or the motivation very well. You have to have some level of understanding of the person's situation. And I think that if you can understand that, then you'll be able to understand what their motivation is. And on the equity side of the business, you know, we have some potential deals that are coming down the pipeline that are people who recently bought, okay? One of the big statistics that is very prevalent in the United States is that 70%, right? 70% of people live paycheck to paycheck. So it's only going to take a couple paychecks to be, you know, completely in a very difficult situation and not being able to pay for your mortgage. So if you understand that you can take over those payments, that's definitely something else that you can do. You're unable to educate sellers on the options. I'm not saying all of you guys are wholesalers, but some of the wholesalers that I run into, man, they're not able to educate the sellers on what options that they have. A cash option isn't the only option that you can give people. There are so many other options that we can go through, but let's go through the other list here. They don't know their numbers very well. And by not knowing your numbers very well, I think that one of the problems that I think with some people that are just starting out is that you're willing to flex too much on how much you're going to offer. You're getting so close to buying to retail that it's just, you know, you're just may as well just be buying on the MLS. But you think that because you're skipping a few things, you'll be able to put a property under contract and then sell it, or maybe figure out a way to rehab it under budget. It's just, it doesn't really work. Okay. So you have to really know and understand your numbers. The next reason is you can't generate a truckload of leads. This is such a powerful point of real estate investing, is that you have to generate leads in order to close deals. If you don't have any lead generation mechanism, whatever mechanism that you use, and I'll go through a bunch of them here, without the mechanism to generate leads, you won't be able to close any deals. So you have to understand that there's some marketing pieces that you have to get out, whether it's yourself talking to people or, you know, whatever other type of marketing that you want to do. Death by 1,000 cuts, man. You have software, you have campaigns, you have sloppy follow-up, not enough attention to leads, trying to be a general contractor for homes to make cash on the side, or maybe being a real estate agent. All these things, man, they contribute to you not being able to, you know, continually close on deals. Number 4, they don't understand that we don't buy houses, we buy people's problems. So if you're talking to a seller and you're kind of a new person, and even if you're not, like we get so down the path of like wanting to make the numbers work for what we want, and not understand that there's an actual legitimate problem that this person is probably dealing with. And in that reason, it makes it easier for you to really serve them in a manner that's going to get you the deal versus somebody else. Okay. So the big 3 that we always talk about is relationships, health, and finances. So in a relationship situation, man, I'm telling you, divorce is obviously a situation where they're probably going to have to sell. We have something under contract right now where that happened. If there's a parent-child strained relationship, I'm telling you right now, and I think that a lot of people, oh my God, my camera just stopped. Hey, can you guys still see me?
Not currently.
Man, I'm not sure. Sorry about that, man. I'm not sure exactly. This thing just died on me for some reason.
No worries. Technical difficulties happen.
Yep. Where's my presentation? There's a presentation. I just turned it on and off again. Can you hear me though?
Yeah,
Yes, we can hear you.
You're just fine.
Oh, let's see. Okay, so we can just probably just keep going, man. I mean, let's just keep going for now. I think people care to see me or whatever.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, here's where I was talking about, guys. We're talking about relationships. In a parent-child strained relationship, I think it's going to be one of the more powerful type of situations where you can, help someone out. Anytime someone has told me like, "Hey, look, man, I have a parent-child strained relationship," it's very difficult for a parent to tell a child, "Hey, you haven't paid taxes, you haven't paid insurance, you haven't paid anything," and it makes it very difficult for them to like get in their kid's face and actually, get them out of the house. The next one's going to be health. Aging parents, recent diagnosis of ill health or family. You have to be very sensitive about that type of situation. You got to be very sensitive with people about it, and you can't just like willy-nilly go over there and just start talking about people's personal medical situations, but you definitely are able to understand and help them in that process. Finances. People are behind on mortgages. Here's the problem with finances is that it's very difficult for people to just open up about their finances. Okay. They're not just going to just start talking to you about, money, and they're not going to just start talking to you about their personal finances and their struggles that they're having. It's just not going to happen. So because that's a difficult situation for them to talk about, you have to be very careful when you start talking with people about their personal financial situation. Okay. Um, reason number 5, they aren't very good salespeople and don't want to be. And this kind of gets me because I've gotten, man, I have gotten situations, guys, where like, people are just terrible salespeople. Wholesalers are trying to wholesale something to me, and they're just not. They're kind of a jerk. They treat me like I'm some sort of a peon, or like they just don't treat people with dignity and respect. I mean, and that's fine. Like they're gonna run their business however they run their business. But I'm trying to explain that if you want to be successful in any part of this business, that you have to really understand you have to be somewhat of a good salesperson. Okay. No one's telling you got to be amazing, but you do have to have some level of salesmanship. Number 6, they refuse to implement a multi-pronged follow-up system. You got to have a follow-up system of some sort, guys. I mean, it's just, if you have no follow-up system, then I can tell you your real estate investing business is probably not going to be very successful. It's going to have some limited success. I'm not saying you won't be successful. It's just going to be limited. Okay. Let's see. Number 7, aren't willing to stick to 1 or 2 methods of marketing for leads long enough to see real results. Here's the problem with that portion of it, guys. The problem with that is that, like, I think that for the most part, oh my God, this thing is just sticking to 1 or 2 methods of real estate marketing for leads. I think what happens is people go, they're like, look, I'm going to try to do this whole thing with direct mail, right? And then the direct mail doesn't work. And they're like, well, that doesn't work. So they try something else. They're going to go, well, you know what? I'm going to do pay-per-click. And so they go try to do pay-per-click, and then that doesn't work. And they try that for 1 or 2 months. And then they try to do, I don't know, man, direct dials, ringless voicemail, or they'll try to do something else where they, pull lists and door knock. And they're trying these different types of things for like 1 or 2 months. And then they stop and then try something different. What I'm going to tell you is that if you are able to try 1 or 2 methods of marketing for deals for at least 6 months, you will master it in some regard, and you will be a little bit more successful. So whatever method of marketing that works best for you, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, that's the method of marketing that you should really pursue. Okay. This is a huge error that I see, man. They try different methods and they don't get any results, and then they get frustrated and then they walk away. Okay. So what makes me different? What I do in my direct mail? Here's the thing that I do for direct mail, guys. And it's not even a thing that I do for direct mail. What happens is that, like, we have a list. We know what properties that we want to buy. And so when someone has reached out to me and they've said, okay, yes, I'm interested in selling. I'm interested in, potentially, talking with somebody about it, that person then starts getting direct mail. I don't just start blasting direct mail out to like cold leads. That doesn't make any sense, financial sense to me. I've tried tons of direct mail. So now what we do is it's a picture of me with my family, and it's got like a sign over the top of it that says, "Hey, I'm very interested in buying houses in that local market. Give me a call." It's very, very basic. Okay. Fail to realize that this is entrepreneurship. Number 8, man, real estate investing is definitely entrepreneurship, and I think that for the most part, people think it can. I think there's too many people that are selling this side hustle thing, right? And the side hustle thing does not work, man. It just is not real when it comes to real estate investing. It has to be something that you're all in for if you're genuinely going to try to make a big run at it. Okay, so they go into full real estate investing here. They leave a job with no plan and no cash reserves. That is a recipe for disaster, and I am not suggesting anybody try to do that. Okay. Number 9, don't have a strong enough why and let life get in the way. This is more on the mindset portion of it, man. But here's what I'll tell you. The 7 levels of why, I don't remember where I got this from. This was a while back ago, but basically the way it works is you ask yourself a question, okay? And when you get to it, you keep asking yourself the same why question. So I'm going to give you a quick example. Someone's asking me, Juan, why do you want to be a real estate investor? My answer is, well, I want time freedom. Okay, Juan, why do you want time freedom? Well, I want time freedom because growing up, my parents were never able to be at my, sporting events when I was in high school or whatever. Well, why is it important why is that important for you? Because your parents were not able to be there. Do you want to be there for your kids? Yeah, absolutely. I want to be there for your kids. But why is that important to you? Well, because I want to be able to nurture a relationship with my kids that is deeper, that is more, in my opinion, better than the relationship I might have had with my parents. And that's of such value to me. And you keep going down that 7 levels of why. You do it 7 times, basically the point I'm trying to make. Okay. You do it 7 times. And by the time you're at your 7th time, it's going to be an emotional type situation, man. I'm telling you. Okay. And that's really, truly where you're getting to with why. Here's what I'm talking about follow-up real quick, okay? These are some major sales statistics that are very, very prevalent in any business. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. That's terrible, okay? 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12 only make 3 contacts and stop, and only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. If you're a real estate investor, you're in a sales business. And I hope I'm not the first person to tell you that, okay? These are the actual statistics that are on your side as an investor, okay? 2% of sales are made on the first contact, which is why, in my opinion, cold direct mail marketing to people is not a very good use of money, okay? I know that there's people like, that they sell, hey, get this postcard, do this type of deal, whatever. But if my likelihood of closing somebody is 2% on the very first contact, I'm going to be spending a lot of money to be able to get that 2%. Okay. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third. And if you look here on the 4th and 5th to 12th contact, you are now 80% of sales. Okay. The gentleman that I put under contract earlier today, I have followed up with this guy probably 15 times. Okay. So why spend time teaching it? Okay. Follow-up is a process of creating value through communication and staying in front of your buyers and sellers in order to create and maintain rapport with them. You want them comfortable. Follow-up is crucial to your success or failure. I'm going to give you a quick example here. This lady, Leanna, man. Look at this deal. This is in Houston. This is a property on Verhalen. We followed up with this, and I was helping her with this deal. And I'm bringing her up because she was one of my, people that went through my course or whatever. Anyway, so we followed up over 40 times with this guy. We had uncooperative tenants. These tenants did not want us buying the house because they knew that when we bought the house, they had to be out. We committed non-refundable earnest money. We decided that the foundation was okay. The water heater busted during the rehab, so kind of the issues that happened. We need a new furnace that was needed during the process. The dishwasher also crapped out. So lesson number 1, follow up as long as it takes. And number 2, buy it deep for a fix and flip. Otherwise, this stuff right here, man, is going to bury any profit, okay? So running short on time, guys. I'm going to keep moving forward here. So hopefully on this, I've made it very, very clear to you guys that follow-up is super, super important. Follow up as many times as it takes. if you have someone that is somewhat interested in your offer and you're buying their property for cash or whatever option you're going to give them, okay, follow up until they've either sold it to somebody else or they're just upset at you for just following up too much. Okay. So moving on, yes leads equals yes deals, man. We're not going to be going over raising private capital. That's really not part of this presentation, but I got on there. So anyways, yes leads equals yes deals. So more leads equals more deals. So here's some of the stuff. This is not novel information, guys. This stuff is stuff that you probably already heard, some of the stuff that you've already known, but I'm going to try to put a little bit different spin on it for you guys so that you guys can get some value out of it. Okay. So these are some of the things that we're going to be going through real quick. Driving for deals. Okay. I want to know the details. So here on number 1B, driving your areas and reverse engineering the more motivated seller. It took me some time to realize that one time I found someone that was going through divorce, lost a job, was behind on the property taxes. The house was in disrepair and was vacant. Like we have like 5 motivations right there alone. Okay. And I accidentally stumbled across this person. It wasn't even something that like was smart enough to do. But when that happened, I'm like, how do I keep duplicating that specific person? Okay. So I started thinking, how do we figure out the same person has got all these issues and then just focus on that area or on that person and then just spend more money than you would traditionally spend on a piece of postcard, which is like what, $1.25 or whatever it is, spends like $5 or $10 on someone has a lot of motivations and spend it on them because they're going to sell. They're going to need to sell. Okay. Looking for vacant homes or distressed houses is free, man. Okay. Locating the owner. So the cheapest skip trace that I know of is just talking to the neighbors. Okay. And yeah, it takes a little bit of courage. It takes a little bit of, guts to kind of sit there and, call the neighbors and say, hey, what's going on? Do you know this person? Do you know anything about this house? Okay. Just don't be afraid to start the conversation. Man, yeah, this happened to me recently. Okay, look, I stopped by a yard sale. This is what I found out just from stopping at a yard sale. This is what's crazy. I found out the lady who was the owner had been shot by her own brother. She showed me where she'd been shot on the foot. Like she told me her brother killed himself on the property. Like this is crazy, right? Crazy. People sometimes feel like strangers are safe. Why? Because there's no judging. I'm not going to judge this lady. I don't know her. I'm not going to think like she's like a terrible person. Okay. But if you're willing to have the courage to go out there, you'll be able to start the conversation. Okay. Lock the door, leave a note, talk to the neighbors. Okay. These are some of the services that are available. Spokio Bin Verified, Deal Machine app, $99 a month for 55 cards, $1.50 a card is what they do. Look them up, research them, whatever feels best for you. Okay. Don't be formal and just ask for Jimmy. And what I mean by don't be formal and ask for Jimmy is like whenever you get on the phone, just say, hey, what's going on? I'm looking for Jimmy. Yeah, who's this? Because if you're like, yes, hi, I'm looking for Mr. Bob Rutherford III, like they're just no one's gonna they're gonna think it's like a business call. If you're calling for Jimmy, it's just like it's probably a friend. Okay. Real quick, some of the things that I say or we say whenever we get on the phone with people, it's like, hey man, I just wanted to consider a cash offer on your house. Just to get the conversation started. For sale by owners, man, this is a love-hate relationship. And this, everybody's like, oh man, everybody always talks about, FSBOs and everybody calls FSBOs and like whatever. It's a love-hate relationship because if you have no budget for marketing, then don't be upset with having to eat ramen. And ramen noodles, man, you can get like a case of ramen for like $3 or something. You get 100 of those things. FSBOs are the ramen noodle of real estate, man. Okay. And nobody likes to admit it, but it needs to be done. Okay. Let's see. Looking for a FSBO sign, Zillow, Trulia, man. The house that we put under contract earlier today was a Zillow. On Zillow, all I do is very, very simple. I create a Zillow account. I go to certain areas that I like, certain neighborhoods, not areas. And I'm not talking about areas like whole geographical areas. Okay. So this is going to take a little bit of work on your part. Find out and know what zip codes are your favorite zip codes to buy fix and flips, buy rentals, buy whatever it is that you're specifically buying. input it to Zillow and say, look, anytime something like this comes up, I want to know about it. Okay. And they'll just send you reminders or send you like little notifications. I got a notification on Zillow. Hey, there's a new house for sale in the zip code that you like. I'm like, okay, cool. I checked it out. I'm like, oh, this is weird. It's a for sale by owner. There's only pictures of the outside, which tells me that probably the inside's busted. And I just started talking to this guy. Okay. I went directly to the seller because when you're a for sale by owner, that's what you're asking for. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not trying to list your house. I'm a buyer. What do you want for the house, man? I know you're asking 135. Like, what's your bottom dollar? What are you looking at? Okay. And that's exactly how the conversation got started. So, man, if it's an owner that it's a for sale by owner property, man, it's a little bit easier to kind of have that owner finance pitch if that's what you want to do, man. These people, they're trying to save money. They're trying to maximize how much money they're going to get. So it's a little bit easier to do that owner finance pitch. Remember the truck on Craigslist, man. I got this from Pace Morby. I think a lot of people know who this dude is. He's a pretty popular guy on social media right now, man. And he's got this funny thing where he talks about the truck on Craigslist. And the way it goes is very, very simple. He's like, look, I'm going to explain to you owner financing by explaining to you how I tried selling a truck on Craigslist. I had an old jalopy that I was trying to sell on Craigslist, and I was asking way too much money for it. And I got 0 people interested in the jalopy. Then I went back onto Craigslist and I changed one thing. The one thing I changed was will take payments. When I changed it to will take payments, people stopped caring about the price of the truck. And I had so many phone calls about this jalopy because now I was willing to take payments. Now, it's funny because you're kind of telling the person that their house is kind of like a jalopy, but you're also telling the person like, look, you're asking for a lot for this house. But if you're willing to take payments, then it'll be easier for me to be able to do. Okay. Competing with iBuyers, man, there's the big companies. I know we've had a lot of companies that registered some really significant losses, man. Everybody thinks that real estate investing is super easy. They watch it on HGTV, right? And so they think it's going to be super easy. As some of these people, man, they're competing and it's been hard for us little guys, right, to get deals because these big companies have been, buying at bigger prices than we have. But now you can't be intimidated by them because they just reported millions and millions and millions of hundreds of millions of dollars of losses. Okay. Some sellers definitely, man, they want to do business with a person, man, not a faceless email. Estate sales, man. Again, be careful. Someone just recently passed away, so be respectful. Go in there and start talking to people, man. Some of these things can be listed anywhere. People are looking to liquidate assets, including a house, leverage attorney relationships if you have any. Moving sales, yard sales, man. Anytime I see a U-Haul nearby where I know that I want to buy more rentals, I stop, man. I stop. A U-Haul at a house means someone in that house is stressed out. That's exactly what that means. If you have ever had a U-Haul at your house, you're going through some stress. Plain and simple. Okay. Now, I casually just go over there and ask, hey, what's going on, man? Is there a job relocation? What do you guys plan to do with the house? Maybe they're trying to get ahead of the financial issues. I don't know. Just get the conversation started, right? Have a flyer or business card you can leave with them that you carry around your vehicle. Don't be too pushy at this point, man. You don't know these people. You just met them. And so just, hey, look, it's free information. That's all it is. Let's just have a conversation about it. I'm not pushing you either way. If you want to go through a real estate agent, then, hey, I have some great ones I can recommend you to. I'm not an agent. I'm just looking to buy a house, man. So this is a relationship business and your name means something. Here's a big downfall that I had when I first started in real estate investing is I didn't realize how important building relationships was to this business. Okay. I didn't really realize it. And so over the course of time now, I've really developed a lot of really great relationships with real estate agents, realtors in my local market, and they bring me stuff because they don't know how to figure it out. They don't know how to figure it out, not because they're bad people. They don't know how to figure it out because it's just not in their wheelhouse. They're more used to the traditional buying and selling of houses. Okay. So, it's a little bit tougher to get cash deals, man. You're offering the same thing. Okay. So with real estate agents, What's the competitive advantage for a real estate agent to bring you a deal versus somebody else when they could just put it on the market and sell it, right? Because the market's been so hot. Okay. It is a little tougher to get cash deals, but there's always going to be someone that, for whatever reason, look, guys, I'm telling you, and I'm not saying this to be showy because this is not what I came on here to do or to try to be. We bought a house probably about 2.5 weeks ago that a real estate agent, a guy who was a real estate savvy investor, okay, thought that he could get rid of it on his own, and he tried, and then it finally landed on me. It's a traditional rental. We ended up capturing over $70,000 in equity, and the people that are living there are going to be staying there. They've been living there at that house for like 20 years. It's crazy. What was the competitive advantage? This guy was coming up hard on a balloon note, and he just had to get out of it. He's like, I can't. And he tried putting it on the market. Nobody wanted to buy it. He requested that the mom actually stay at the house. So we had to create a lease. So it was one of those things. Is like, what was the competitive advantage for bringing it to me? Is that I'm an investor. I'm much more flexible in that stuff. And we were able to get that sucker closed. Okay. There are deals on the MLS, guys, but you need alerts. You need systems to be able to do that. Okay. This is what I was talking about at the beginning here, man. Forbes, 7 in 10 Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Okay. You're still going to have people to get in financial situation when creative financial solution, financing is a solution. See, there's a lot of great people who accidentally get themselves into very terrible problems. Okay. And people think that sometimes when you get into a personal financial problem, that is a direct reflection of your inability to like be a good person or something. And that's not the case. Okay. And I think that if you're able to convey that to people, I'm going to say it again, convey to people that they're just in a very difficult situation. We're there to help them. They themselves are not bad people. Then maybe we can help them. Okay. And I think that being able to make that connection with people will help you close more deals. Okay. The best thing to do is create as many relationships with realtors as possible. This is definitely what I do right here, man. As many realtors as possible, as many people as possible. I try to create as many great relationships as I can. Explaining it to real estate agents, very, very simple. Okay. If you're kind of a newbie starting on this stuff, I'm going to go through this real quickly. This is what you do when you call a real estate agent. This is what you tell them. Hey, look, I'm a real estate investor and I'm looking for 2 types of properties. Number 1, I'm looking for properties in physical distress. That's very easy to know and understand. The house is busted. It's got foundation issues. It's got a leaky roof, whatever. I'm looking for that so I can buy it, fix it up, and resell it. Okay. So everyone understands that. The next type of property that we're looking for is houses that are in financial distress. Okay. So you're looking for both. I think all investors are always looking for both. Houses in physical distress and financial distress. Financial distress just means the house is behind on payments. Maybe the taxes haven't been paid in a few years. Maybe someone just found out that they have a job loss. And so now, they're realizing that their savings is probably going to be depleted within a month or two. Okay. Most people go to someone they trust first about a financial distress situation before they go to a random stranger. Okay. The person they know and trust first is probably going to be a real estate agent. And then that agent you have to have a good relationship with so they can disclose to you like, hey man, this property is about to get foreclosed on for whatever payments. Okay. Tax auction versus tax delinquent. I'm going to go through this real fast because this is not a mastery course on tax auctions and tax delinquency, but here's what I'll tell you. Okay. You can get a list of what properties are going to be going to the tax auction. I personally do not and have not ever bought anything at the tax auction. Okay. But you can get the list of people that are about to go to the tax auction if that's something that you want to delve into. This is one of the 2 methods. Okay. Remember that one of the 2 methods of finding deals or marketing for deals, marketing for leads. Okay. If this is the one that you want to choose, go ahead and choose it. But there's quite a few things that you have to do here. Okay. You have to research the title, research the value. You kind of have to guess on the rehab a little bit. You're not allowed to really walk the property. So it's kind of tough. You're bidding against other investors. You must have actual cash and cashier's checks to be able to buy the property. In my opinion, this is for seasoned investors or people that have a lot more experience, really, financially, and experience in real estate investing. Okay. But if you decide to make this your lead generation strategy, man, go ahead, go for it. You're going to need a money man to front the cash for sure. Okay. Get more education, get more training. Love Linda Muscarello, the Queen of Foreclosures. She's an awesome lady. I've learned a lot from her stuff, man. Every state has laws protecting homestead properties. Okay. So, excuse me. So owners losing a house to tax foreclosure have redemption rights. So that's one of the things that kind of is really, stopped me a little bit from wanting to do that type of thing there. So I haven't really done it. Pre-auction methodology, man. So some investors do not want to deal with redemption rights. So let me explain that real quickly. You go to the auction, you buy a house for whatever the taxes are owed. Let's say the mortgage, there was no mortgage. The person who lost the house has the option to redeem the property and pay back the taxes or whatever else, and then you have to give them the property back. Now, the likelihood of that happening is very, very slim, but a lot of people just don't want to deal with that. Like, you mean to tell me I'm going to pay for this house and the previous person has the right to redeem it again? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So some people don't want to deal with that. So a property that's tax delinquent gets a foreclosure notice. Those are the ones that we typically go after before they get to the auction, okay? Because then you can look at the properties that are tax delinquent. If someone is tax delinquent 1 year, honestly, I would just skip them. That's not a big deal. 2 years tax delinquent, yeah, we'll get around to it. But once you get to like 3, 4, and 5 years of tax delinquency, those people, statistically speaking, are going to have a very low likelihood of paying up those taxes, okay? Some taxing authorities allow for deferment in some cases, okay? If you're a low or fixed income, you're elderly, disabled, proof of hardship, you can accrue a significant amount of delinquency. There's a house that I've been following this house for several years, man. $17,000 in delinquent taxes. And the state, or I'm sorry, the county will not foreclose on them because she's low, fixed, disabled, and elderly, and she's proven hardship. And so they're like, well, we won't foreclose on you. But once you die, 6 months, that money's got to be paid up. Okay. So it's going to happen 6 months to cure the tax bill or get foreclosed on. So at about 7% of the assessed value, we're talking about $7,000 for every $100,000. The sellers cannot see a way out of the foreclosure. Okay. So example, a $200,000 house will have a $14,000. At that point, man, the sellers typically, they give up. They're just like, you know what, man, I'm not going to be able to cash this up. It's just not going to work for me. All right. So they just move on to something. They realize that they're probably going to end up losing the house. So they'll try to do a quick sale, a fast sale with someone else, or they'll do, a real estate investor. Okay. You have to get to the seller before the auction. Man, we did a house in the city of Humble, man. This is on a Saturday, 1 week plus 1 day before it was too late. Tons of deferred maintenance. One room was a bathroom for the dog. One brother wanted nothing to do with the house, but we needed to get his signature. I mean, this house was just freaking crazy, man. So the guy was not wanting to do it. Okay, we have 1 week and 1 day before this house was going on the tax foreclosure auction. House was paid for, and the guy still did not want to sign. He was not happy with how much he was getting. I reminded him that he was about to get nothing. Reminded him that he had been living at the house rent-free, mortgage-free, insurance-free, and tax-free for 7 years. I said to him, look, the average rent in the area is about $1,500 a month. We're going to multiply that by 12. And then we're going to multiply that by 7, which is the number of years that you're behind. You've consumed over $126,000 of value over 7 years. Okay? So this additional money that you're getting is going to be icing on the cake for you. Okay? And that made it a little bit more reasonable for him. He's like, you know what? That kind of makes sense. I may not be too happy with the amount of money I'm getting, but I've also eaten up $126,000 of value over 7 years by not having to pay anything to live in this house for free. And it's not even his house. It was his mom's house. Okay. So here's the line that I use with this guy. I said, look, sir, I use the word we, including myself, like I'm talking about me and him, right? We're here because of procrastination. The time is now. There's no more time. Let's get this paperwork started immediately, and I can get some money in your pocket. Ink the deal immediately on the phone with the title company, man, because that's a very short fuse deal. Immediately on the phone with the title company, the lenders, the insurance, and everyone. Okay. So listen, I realize this is kind of counterintuitive here. Deals are getting done in your backyard. It should bother you, man. It should certainly bother you if it's getting done. It bothers me when deals are getting done in my backyard. Okay. So you have to make friends everywhere. But it's not easy for me, Juan. You know what? The truth is, it's not easy for anyone. Just be yourself. No one's asking you to be someone you're not. Okay. Have meaningful conversations with new people every single day. Ask them what they do. They will most likely ask you back. Be ready to exchange contact information. Text people right away. Follow up a couple of days later with a quick, hey, nice to meet you. Build rapport with these people. Big one here. Your name is your reputation, plain and simple. Be part of your local chamber of commerce. Volunteer in your local community. Participate. You'll meet other entrepreneurs. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope that was good and you guys learned something from it. And at this point, I'm going to give it back over to you guys. Colin, man, I don't know what's going on with my video, man.
Yeah, I think Victor was going to try to help get it back on.
Yeah, Juan, if you can see the settings on StreamYard and then go to camera, if there's a drop down where the camera option is, you should be able to, there you go.
Boom. There we are.
All right. Awesome.
I switched it to the FaceTime camera. Man, hopefully that stuff was good for you guys, man. I'm telling you, I get excited a little bit when I start talking about this stuff because, man, I don't know if you guys can see all that stuff on the board, man. I am super, super busy. We've got about 20 something deals right now on the board, man. And, you know, it really, all the stuff that I've been talking about right here is the stuff that I've been using to generate more leads and more deals, man. I'm telling you, I'm talking to realtors. I'm doing stuff on Zillow. I'm making offers. I'm talking to as many people as I can. I'm building good quality relationships with people to get them to know that I'm a closer. That I'm someone that can be trusted. I'm a man of my word, and that, you know, we'll get this thing done, man. And so from that perspective, man, really it has paid off a lot of dividends for me. And I really hope that you guys learned a few things. If you guys want any more information about anything else, man, you guys can reach out to me there. You got my email, you got my cell phone number. No, I'm happy to help, man. I love real estate, and I think it's a great, great way to build wealth. And, you know, if you can change the family tree of your family by being the first person, or maybe you're a second generation investor or what have you, man, really expound on that, really take it to another level, and then help bring along other people that are going to benefit from your hard work and your knowledge, man. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, great presentation. I know we've had a few questions, comments come in already. I just did everybody put Juan's contact info in the chat as well, just in case, you know, anybody wants to refer back to it. It will be in the comments on the YouTube or Facebook afterwards. But Terry's question is, what areas are you investing in? Are you interested in only single family homes, multifamily, commercial, what have you?
Hey, man, Terry, thanks for the question, man. I really appreciate it. Here's what I'll tell you. One of the big mistakes I made when I started off was I would go anywhere there was a deal, I would go to it. So I was driving all over the place. I mean, I went from Houston to Katy to Baytown to Splendora, if you know where that is, to New Caney to Tomball. Like I was running myself ragged, honestly. And I wasted so much time just driving. I try to be a little bit productive, but it's hard to be productive when you're driving, and then you get so tired and it's dangerous. So now I've decided to focus solely on Conroe and Willis, just Conroe and just Willis. And when I made that shift, like, I don't know, man, like one, what that did was like, I don't have to pull comps anymore. And you're like, what do you mean you have to pull comps? I know my zip codes. I know my areas. So if you call me and you tell me, hey, I have a deal on this road and this is what I'm asking for, like, I know in my head, because I know the area so well, that we're either in the ballpark or nowhere near where I should be buying that property at. Okay. So it's going to save you time. So for me personally, it's going to be Conroe and Willis, and, multi-units. We're actually building some new, I don't know, I guess we're building 4 units right now, which is it's a 2 duplexes technically to break it up, just so we have to skip over some of the legal stuff when it comes to like building commercial versus building single family. So yeah, manufactured houses or mobile homes. Yeah, man, I've done some mobile homes, man. I'm telling you, people like frown on those things, and people's like, oh, I'll never do a mobile home, man. Look, if it makes money, it makes money. That's plain and simple. I think we're in the money making business. We're not really in the real estate investing business. Mobile homes, though, on the other hand, you have to be very, very careful on some things. I think the biggest thing you have to be careful with a mobile home is that your end buyer, who's going to be your end buyer, right? If your end buyer is going to be an owner occupant, then that house has to be able to pass all the requirements for that house to, be able to get financing through, conventional means. So if it's a house that's been moved, then it's completely done. Like you can't, you have to owner finance that sucker out or whatever it is, whatever. But yeah, definitely mobile homes.
Awesome. Okay, next question is it the right time to buy real estate with very high interest rates and impending recession?
Man, so back to the very original quote that I had, man, the very, very first quote that I had at the beginning of the presentation. I'm going to bring it back up because I'm beginning to see it now. I'm really beginning to see it a lot from a lot of people, and I want to get this thing wrong, man. Far more money has been lost by investors trying to anticipate corrections than lost in the corrections themselves. Okay? So that means nothing if you take no action, but here's what I want you to understand. We have higher interest rates. You're right, 100% right. If you do the math, okay, on the cost of a regular 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right? We're talking about, let's say you have good credit, we'll do it at like 5%, okay? If you compare that to like a 10% interest only loan, you're paying about the same anyways, okay? I wish I had the numbers to prove that to you, but that's basically about what it comes out to, okay? So understanding that interest rates are going up right now, I want to lock myself into something that I know I can manage. So here's what I did. I got with my private lenders and I said, hey, interest rates are getting out of control, right? The non-QM market, the secondary mortgage market is kind of closed off. So I have to find a solution for that. So the challenge is now, number one, to try to buy the properties a little bit deeper. And number two, talk to your private lenders and let them know, hey, is there any way we can do 12-month or 24-month interest-only loans? I ended up getting, I think it was 9% for 24 months interest only. And the property still cash flows, okay? Do you think that we're still going to be in this crazy recession and terrible high interest rates in 24 months? I don't know. No one knows. No one has a crystal ball. So there's no real answer to that. But as an interim solution to the two problems that you're talking about right now, high interest rates and an impending recession, my answer to that was like, I'm just going to find private lenders who are willing to lend me money 24 months at a reasonable fixed rate, which was 9% for me at the time. I'm trying to see if I can get some 8% money and then just make interest-only payments. You have to have margin, right? You have to have equity capture when you buy it and then just rent it, keep it rented. That's the answer to that. If you have any additional kind of more specifics on that, it's kind of tough, but just find a solution, I guess, that works for you in your market. That's going to basically forego the higher interest rates, man. Who's going to be able to afford it? Most investors right now are at a standstill because they're doing the math on an 8% non-QM or 8.25%, 8.9%, 9%, whatever number you want to throw in there. They're doing the math. It's like, this property won't cash flow. Why would I buy it? It's not going to cash flow. So find another solution for it, guys. And my solution was finding private lenders who are willing to do 24-month interest-only loans at a reasonable rate.
Awesome. Here's another question. The same person. Is Relentless Acquisitions buying and managing real estate for investments using IRA money?
Yes, 100%. We used a lot of people who have their funds at Quest Trust. We've developed relationships with these people, and we definitely use their money. And so Quest Trust is the one that holds it. And primarily, I think there's only one guy who just uses his personal cash money to do it, and everybody else has money at Quest.
Yeah, and again, we can certainly help you with that. If you do want to use your IRA money, your 401k money to invest with Relentless Acquisitions, absolutely reach out to me, reach out to Andrea, reach out to Juan. We can all get you guys set up. Next one. In your lead generation slide, you highlight relationships. What systematic process do you use to find divorce, parent-child strains, death in family, things of that nature?
Okay. The systematic process to find these people. So there's lists. Okay. So for someone that's going through a foreclosure, for example, let's say they're behind on their mortgage, there's a list that you can buy for that. Okay. There are other lists that you can also buy that are a little bit tougher to get. Okay. Now, I totally encourage you to try to find these lists, because if you can find these lists, then you can stack the lists and figure out which of the people that have, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of motivation. Okay. It's a little bit challenging because they're not easily accessible. So for example, if someone's going through a divorce, you can find that list. If someone's going through a foreclosure, you can find that list. But if someone has just lost their job, that's not really a list that you can actually find. Okay. But if someone has, recently filed for unemployment benefits, man, it's been a while for me, honestly, man, but you have to be willing to do all the research, do all the phone calls, and talk to people and say, hey, we want to find it. The company that we've used a lot is Adam Data. Adam Data, they have good salespeople, in my opinion, the ones that I've talked to at least. They will help you find the different types of lists for the zip codes that you want. So you have to understand and know which zip codes you want, but they will help generate the actual lists that you want. And then they give them to you in Excel form. And then you just have to do all the, nubby pencil work to transpose them all and try to figure out which ones are the people that have 2, 3, or 4 levels of motivation. And then just focus on those people.
Awesome. Another one from Terry. What about a mobile home park?
Hey, Terry, what specifically about mobile home parks? Would I buy it? Yeah, absolutely. I think that
Sorry, I don't know if you can see the question on there. Lease pads to the owners of mobile homes.
I think it's a great business model. Yeah, absolutely. And so I went to a presentation in the Woodlands not too long ago because I was trying to understand a little bit more about this. And it is a whole nother monster, man. Mobile home parks is a completely different realm. And, I was asking the guy, one of the big questions I had was why not rent out the mobile homes, right? Because then you can benefit from some depreciation and all this other stuff that I was thinking about in my head. He's like, no. You don't ever want to you don't ever want to rent out mobile homes in a mobile home park. I'm like, why not? He's like, because the people who own their own mobile home park, they own their own house in a mobile home park, will take care of their house a lot better than tenants will, 99.9% of the time. So because of that, all of the houses they have in their mobile home parks are all owned by the actual owner occupants.
Awesome. And I don't know if you plan on giving out the presentation. Maybe they can reach out to you if they are interested in the material.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me an email. Send me an email to I'm gonna pull it back up here. Juan at relentlessacq.com. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to, guys. Not a problem with that at all.
Great. Let's see. We do have a couple more questions here. On your 24-month interest-only loans, are you refinancing those homes in 2 years to pay off the principal? What's the exit strategy on that?
Hey, Steven, thanks so much for the question, man. That is a great question because, I don't know the answer to that question right now. Okay. I would like to hold on to it is my, I'd like to hold on to the property. I already have $70,000 of built-in equity when I bought it. So, it's going to be pretty easy to refinance with a non-QM loan, but as things are with real estate and real estate investing, we can't hold on to everything that we ever, buy. So if that property continues to appreciate, and it seems reasonable to me, now I have 2 years and now my capital gains is a little bit lower or a lot lower, then I might just be like, you know what, man, it was good to just hold this property for these 2 years. It's time to sell it, cash out, make some money. Or if we refinance, we can do a cash out refinance, and then any of the additional equity I take out that is not part of the purchase price, because it's a loan that I'm getting, is not going to be taxed at all. It's going to be zero. So, I mean, it just depends on what happens when I get there, man. I really can't answer that question right now. It's just a lot of factors, really. But yeah, those two are good options. I don't have an exit strategy dialed in on it. I do have to cash that lady out, though. The lady at the 24 months, I do have to cash her out at 24 months. And she's done lots of loans with me. And so she has no reservation that I won't be able to at 24 months.
Great. And the last, there may be a couple more. With bank-owned properties, how willing are they to negotiate if they've had the property up for auction for a while?
Yeah, man. So I don't know. That's a really tough question. Here's what I'll tell you with the bank-owned properties. I think it's probably a better idea to build relationships with an asset manager, because then you can get the inside scoop, man. The asset manager, and this is what people don't understand about, banks. Banks don't know real estate. They know real estate because they finance real estate. They, give out loans and mortgages and stuff like that. But they pull in all the pros, right? They're like, hey, title company, you're a pro in that. Take care of that. Appraiser, you do that, and then inspector, you do that. So, but they themselves are inequipped to manage real estate. Okay, so for them, it is a non-performing asset. So at some point, they have to show their cards and be like, look, here are the numbers. But right now the market is has such low inventory that they are able to just keep holding on and keep, just wait. They know they're going to make more money. There's such low inventory right now in the marketplace that they're like, we'll just go to the next round of auction and somebody will pay it. Why? Because they don't have any other options. They don't have any other opportunities to buy. They have nowhere else to put their money. And so I think it's kind of a little bit of a challenging, in my opinion, a little bit of challenging method of generating deals. But you probably would have to do multiple markets at the same time to generate something.
Awesome. Another question from Steven. What made you settle on your target market in Conroe? And I forget what the other city you mentioned was also. Was that strategic in any way?
Yes, that's a very good question. What made me settle on it was the time that I was wasting driving to the other properties. And so the basic analysis was like, look, are these towns legitimately, genuinely growing? Conroe and Willis, are they legitimately growing? So, and again, guys, I beat up this building relationships horse to death, and I'm going to do it some more. I'm not trying to name drop here, man, but like a very prominent member of leadership in Conroe, I met with this guy and we just started talking about real estate and this other stuff. And he led me into basically understanding where the goal of the county and the goal of the city was going, like in the next 5 to 10 years. He showed me the plans and everything. I was like, what am I doing trying to go buy deals in Houston? Look at this. Plans for development, plans for infrastructure, plans for like all this stuff that they had already been working on. And he was kind of proud of it, which he should be, because it's a very big undertaking. And then at that point, I'm like, man, if these people believe in it so much and they've done the study, then there's a very good reason for me to also follow suit, and which is why I followed into Conroe and Willis and just decided to focus on those two towns, man. Yeah, for sure. But you got to get out. You're not going to learn this stuff just like, behind a computer screen, man. You got to get out there. You got to meet the people. You got to talk to people. You got to be out there and just ask questions and say, hey, risk a little embarrassment and say, hey, man, I don't really know this much about this stuff. What can you tell me about it?
Great. What is the average return on investment Relentless Acquisitions has been providing for the past 5 years?
Man, so that's a tough question. So we don't take other people's money and manage it for them. That is not something that we do. So all the money that Relentless Acquisitions has been using has been loaned to us. Okay. So because they're loans, we settle on an interest rate, a fixed interest rate. Okay. So we'll give people, depending on the project and depending on where it's at, we're looking at anywhere between 8% to 10% basically is what we've been doing. That's the interest that we pay people on the money that they loan to us, okay, on a yearly fixed rate. But if Relentless Acquisitions, because it's a company and it's basically mine and whatever you want to call it, what's that return? It's really on the rentals, man. I mean, that's where the wealth creation really happens, guys. And obviously there's fluctuations in the market when it comes to valuation and what the properties are valued at. But for the most part, man, I mean, that's really where the bulk of any wealth is created for sure.
Yeah. Steven has a question about home equity loans. Have you used HELOCs on your buy and holds? How hard is it to obtain a HELOC in this economy?
No, I have not used a HELOC to buy anything. And here's what I'll tell you guys. There's some definitely good benefits to doing that. But if you're kind of like new or whatever, man, here's what I'll tell you. Use other people's money, especially when you're starting out. Because I promise you, you will be way more careful with other people's money than you're going to be with your own money. I don't know why. Okay? Like you're going to be reckless with your own money. You'll be like, it's cool. It's just my money. It's okay. I'll pay a little bit extra. But if I'm using Colin's money and he's trusted me with his hard-earned money, I'm going to be very careful not to mess that up. So it provides another level of like, I have to stick to, what I'm trying to accomplish here, and I have to do it correctly. And so that's what I would tell you. Once you've done like several deals and you're able to get to like, oh, you know what, I'm going to tap into my HELOC or whatever, and you have the discipline already built in and you understand the numbers really well, I think, yeah, it'd be a great way to do it. Okay. But at the beginning, I highly encourage you to use other people's money.
Absolutely. And my light keeps turning off. Let's see. This is more of a Quest question. I don't know if I can put it all on the screen. The question is, as a Quest customer, what's the best way to present lending opportunities to other Quest members? Guys, I recommend coming out to some of our monthly networking events. We have them here in Houston, in Austin, and in Dallas. So Houston is the first Tuesday of every month, Austin the second Tuesday of every month, Dallas third Tuesday. We offer them in person, and they're all virtual as well. That I know I mentioned that monthly mixer, networking mixer the fourth Wednesday of every month. Those are really good too. If you want to connect with other Quest clients, Quest members, network, deal pitch, talk about partnering, anything like that. Those are, I would say, the number one go-to for people that want to meet and network with others, other like-minded individuals.
Can I say something on that real quick?
Yeah, please.
Look, man, private lenders, no one's just going to give you just tons of money because they just met you off the street and like it's the first time and you just have a good pitch. It's going to take a little bit of time, honestly. Okay. Now, if you find someone that you think would make a good candidate to be a lender for you, this is what I do is I collect their email. I'm like, hey, if it's okay with you, can I send you some stuff that I'm working on again? And here's what's going to happen. They're going to get on the email list. I blank CC everybody, so nobody knows who's getting their email. So I do it just blank to everybody. I'm like, hey, everybody, here's what's going on. Here are the projects that we have going on. If you want to talk more about them, shoot me an email back. And these people, when they see, I send regular updates to my private lenders. Hey guys, here's the update on these projects that we got going on, blah, 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 blah. And I just update everybody. Over the course of time, these people are going to say, wow, this person is actually doing deals and is actually, keeping everybody informed. Let me try one deal with them. But it's going to be it's going to take a little bit of time. Some people, I've had a guy that, man, this is a really crazy story. I've known this guy for probably 10 years. Okay. And I've had him on my mailing list, like probably 6 of those 10 years. First deal, we just closed on it probably like 2 months ago for the multifamily. He's lending like almost $500,000. I'm like, dude came out of the woodwork, just out of the blue. He's like, hey man, I want to lend you some money. I'm like, what? I haven't heard from you a squeak out of you for 6 years, and now you want to drop off $500,000 on me? That's a good deal. I've done what I'm supposed to be doing by communicating effectively, by getting everyone comfortable that I know what I'm doing and I'm actually in the marketplace doing deals. So it takes time, and you'll be surprised, but just start collecting emails. If you're not building a list, you're not building a business. And one of those lists that you have to build is a private lender list.
Awesome. Okay. One last question here, and then we'll let everybody get on with their Tuesday and on with their week. In being careful not to mess up other people's money, could you recommend a good attorney firm to ensure contractually we do the right thing by your angel donors? I'm not sure if that's something you'd rather have them reach out to you for, if you're comfortable sharing that online. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, you got to get some good attorneys, man. People are kind of real hesitant to recommend attorneys because it's just kind of, but yeah, definitely. I think Quest has a lot of good attorneys that they use regularly. I think that's one of the ways to start is because, you have some attorneys that are already know their processes, know their rules, know their system. And I think it's probably going to be the easiest thing to do than to get someone brand new who has never worked with Quest and is going to try to figure it out, learn it as they go.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And just to second that point, we certainly do have, I personally have some attorney referrals I'd be happy to recommend. It sort of just depends on your situation. So Stephen, if you do want to, discuss that, shoot me an email, give me a call, or one of the other RA specialists would be happy to help. Let's see. Okay, we'll do this one last question. Does the Relentless Acquisitions provide secure collateral for the money provided by the IRA owners?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Every single transaction has a piece of real estate attached to it that is a lien, is a first position lien attached to the property. That's the only way we do it. It's the way we've always done it. It's a way to keep things nice, clean, and organized, and that way there's no confusion. So one lender, one property. Have we done something a little bit differently? We have, but that's with more experienced lenders that have done lots of stuff before. But if it's the first time you're going to be doing this, we'll do it clean cut, man. One property, one loan.
Great. Well, Juan, I'm going to put your contact information up here again. But again, thank you so much for coming out. I know we went a little bit over, everybody. Sorry about that, but there was a whole lot of engagement, an awesome presentation again. We really thank you for being here. And I know we mentioned it. Anybody that does want the slides, I think Juan said he's willing to share those if you'll reach out to him with that email.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good one.